What's up, guys? I'm Anthony, and welcome to Life with Anthony. Happy Monday to you guys. I hope that you guys are doing well out there. I want to apologize for not posting a video yesterday. It was raining outside, and I wasn't able to get out and make the video that I wanted to make. I decided that I was going to keep my SUV and make it work. I'll talk a little bit later in the video about specific reasons why I decided to keep my SUV. But today I wanted to walk you guys through what's going to be my layout in this SUV to make it work. Alright guys, the first thing I'm going to do is take a measurement from the back end all the way to the back of the seats. And that measures 70 inches. Now, I am just 5'2", which equates to 62 inches. So that's about a good 8 inches more longer than what my height is. So this should be perfect size for me to put a mattress in and make a nice bed. Now for width size, this is a 60-40 split back seat. I'm going to be using a 60 portion of it, and that measures 31 inches. Now, in my minivan, the bed that I had was 65 inches long and 30 inches wide. So technically, this is almost equivalent to the bed that I had in my minivan. So this space here should work fine for me to put a bed. Now, what's important to me in this car is to keep this car looking like a SUV during the day. I want to be able to flip this part of the seats back up during the day so that it will appear to be a normal SUV. Now to do that, I came up with the idea of cutting my mattress into two parts, cutting it in half. That way, during the day, I can take this section of the mattress and sit it on the back section of the mattress, and that will allow me to put this seat back up. Alright, that's it for the bed space. Moving on to the other side. Okay, now on this side, which is going to be my my recliner chair, this is something that I did not have in a minivan, an additional seating. I was always sitting on my minivan, on the bed in my minivan, and that's why it was important for me in this particular setup to have this seat so that I can have another form of sitting when I'm just relaxing in the van, in this car. So by pushing up this front seat, the thing that I want to do here is have a small table right here so that I can eat on. I can eat on, I can put my laptop on, or I can go ahead and look at movies on my phone here. Now I have a small table in my apartment now, but if it does not fit in this area, then I would just go ahead and build something that's more suitable for the area. Now let's move to the back. Alright guys, back here is where the modification is going to take place. The first thing is I'm going to take this out. Now by taking that out, what that does is it opens up this little cavity of space right here. What I plan on doing here is building a platform, a square platform that's going to sit on the corners of this little space here. Now it's going to be like a box frame, so just think of a frame, and it's not going to have any of the sides on it. It's going to have the whole bottom to it, but no sides. So I'm going to sit it right here in this space. Now on this side of the frame, I'm going to have a half top, or the 60 portion of the seats right here. I'm going to put 3 sets of hinges on the back that will allow me to lift up this half of the top of the box so that I can access any of the storage that I have here. I did buy a set of 3 kind of like storage bins. I'll show you when I get them to go in here. But now that I'm looking at this space, hopefully they will fit in here. The idea is to have this frame, this box that I put in, to sit up a little bit to give me at least 6.5 inches of space, which is the amount of space that I need for the storage bins that I bought. So I'm going to raise this up, this big frame box, up to be 6.5 inches, and I can put my storage bin, and then I can lay on the top of it and take the mattress all the way up from here to there. Now on this side of it is where I would like to put my cooler. Now I'm going to be using a cooler, and I'll talk about why I chose to use a cooler. But since this space goes down a little bit, it gives me a little bit more space to sit this cooler down in this little indentation here, as opposed to having that in here and it starts up here and the cooler is sitting up here. This will allow the cooler to sit down a little bit lower, not a lot, but a little bit more, and that little bit will make all the difference. So that's going to be my plans for the back of this section, building a little box frame. This half of it, or part of it, will have plywood on top with hinges on it that allow me to lift it up. I may even bring it all the way up to about here, and I may even be able to access, but see, that would make it, the mattress go down that way. So I can't bring it up, but maybe, like I said, 6.5 inches would be. Oh yeah, that will be perfect, lined up to the back seat here that folds down about 6.5 inches. And then I should be able to, I might make it like 7.5 to clear this spare tire. Now if I was to take this spare tire out, that would definitely open up a lot of space. Now I did put this spare tire behind my back seat of my passenger side. It fits there, and it can actually serve as an extension of the bed up that way, and I can like put a pillow, that's where my pillow will be. So I haven't yet decided on that. I may have to do that, but the only thing about that is when during the day when I put this seat up, my spare tire is going to be in the back there. I mean, that may not be an issue at all, and not something that I may not care about when the time comes. But it would certainly give me all of this space that this tire is sitting in. So that's something that I will have to decide. Alright guys, that's my layout. Now I have a couple other things I want to share with you guys, so let's get to that. Okay guys, now I want to share with you why I decided to keep my SUV. There are three main reasons why I decided to keep my SUV. The first reason is I was starting to think and having kind of like, I wouldn't say a mental block, of me working so hard to save up money to pay this car off, and then the thought of selling it and getting something that's obviously going to be a lot older than what this car is, have more miles on it than what this car has on it. This car is a 2017, it's just 4 years old, and it only has 43,000 miles on it right now. I predict that next year it's going to have about 56,000 miles on it, because I only put about 11,000 miles on it the first year and 2 months that I had it. So I feel comfortable keeping this car for that reason, because I might get something that I don't know the history of. It might break down. It's just a ease of mind type of deal to just keep this, make the small sacrifices that it takes to live in this vehicle, or I should say live out of this vehicle, than to take a chance on buying something that is older. Once I pay this car off, I don't want any more payments, you know, no more payments. And for me to be able to afford something that's newer, like let's say I do try to get a cargo van that's a 2015 or something like that, that's going to cost a couple of $1,000s, more than a couple of $1,000s. So it just makes more sense to me to just keep this and make it work. A big part of van life for me when I was doing it in a minivan was to stay out of the minivan as more than I was in the minivan. And that's going to apply to this car here. Just because this is a small space doesn't mean that I'm going to be cooped up in here. I'm going to be out of this car just as much as I was out of the minivan. You know, I checked the gym. They're open and allowing people to shower, which is great. The library, I checked them. They are open, and which is great, because you guys know I spent a great deal of time in the library. So having those two things available is just going to make, once again, my van life experience or car life experience a lot easier. All right, so the other reason is, now that I have decided to keep this car, it's going to allow me to move out of this apartment this year, as opposed of next year, which was my original plan to go ahead and renew this lease for 12 more months and then pay my car off in September. Now that I'm keeping this car and going to live out of this car, I'm not going to renew my lease this year. September the 30th is going to be my last day in this apartment. I'm off 4 days around Labor Day time. I'm going to use those 4 days to get a storage unit and put everything in my apartment that I want to keep into that storage unit, so that just in case this does not work out and I end up back in the apartment sooner than later, I don't have to go out and buy stuff all over again, because I'm going to keep that stuff that I have at least for a year, and by then I should have a really good feel of whether I want out or continue. So that's the second reason, and well, part of the second reason. The other thing that goes along with that is, just think of how much money I'm going to be able to save by getting out of the apartment an entire year than my original plan was, which was to stay in the apartment for another year. Just think, in September, if I renew my lease, my new rent was going to be $1,135. Just think now, I'm going to be able to save that $1,135 plus the money that I have already set up that's going into my savings account. We're talking, I will be saving about $1,500 a month, and that's a lot of money, you know, at the end of a year. $1,500, that's about $18,000 a year, plus whatever I have now. And let's not talk about the overtime that I get on my job. You guys know that I work a lot of overtime, and to not have, and to be able to put that money into a savings account, it's going to be great. My expenses is going to go from what I pay now to just my car payment, my car insurance, my cell phone, a storage unit, a UPS address, and then some other little small things, but they would be my primary bills. So I would be able to save a lot of money in that year. And if I'm planning on going into the car life again anyway, why not do it sooner than later? And so that's what I thought. So that's the whole idea for that. Now, another thing that I want to mention to you guys is this, before I end this video. I noticed that a lot of you guys don't comment anymore. I understand. I know the reason why, and I get it. But what I would like to say about that is this. A lot of you claim that you care about my well-being and everything. And look at it like we're not always going to agree with one another. We are entitled to agree to disagree. We are adults here, you know. We're like brothers and sisters and everything. We have a little tiff, you know, you get over it and you move on. I understand that I do snap back at some of the comments that you guys make, because I feel like you're not giving me credit as being an adult and making certain decisions and everything. But that's no reason to stop commenting. Again, we're adults. We get mad at one another. We get over it and we move on. So I do encourage you guys to comment. It's the only way that you and I can interact with one another is through the comments. So if you stop commenting, then that means we no longer have the ability to interact and share things with one another. So let's not let my reaction to what you say or your reaction to what I say stop us from communicating with one another, because it's the only way that we can share things with one another. Alright, with that being said, that's going to be a wrap for today's video. As always, thank you guys for taking a few minutes out of your day to watch my videos. I appreciate you guys, you know that, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Now, let me talk about next Sunday for a minute. Next Sunday video is going to be a special video because it is my mother's 78th birthday celebration, and I took 2 days off from work this week. I'm going down, we're taking my mom out to dinner. I'm going to try to get some video footage, but if I don't get video footage, I'm definitely going to take a lot of photos and put together a slideshow so that I can show you guys the occasion. Alright guys, I'll see you next Sunday.